Hi, you guys. If you like this channel, like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Yay. Okay, so we all know that Raquel Leviss and James Kennedy were engaged, and we're kind of watching it on Vanderpump Rules as it airs now. It's a little frustrating, because we find out on December 13th of 2021 that they call off their engagement. And they seemingly do it like either a few days leading up to the reunion or at the reunion. Anyway, I wanted to do a video about the full story, so it's all captured in one place. It helps me with my frustration of actually having to watch week by week Vanderpump Rules and, a show all about them getting engaged now and knowing that it doesn't work out at the end. Yeah. Kind of ruins it, right? I'm kind of like, okay. I kind of think they should have re-edited it. Okay, so the way it went down is they both released a statement on their Instagram with a picture of them with the reunion in the background. By the way, nice reunion stage for that show. Some of them not so much, like Beverly Hills season 11. I could have passed on that one. I didn't totally get the Kathy Hilton reference. Did you guys? I was like, it looks like a cheesy restaurant. Okay. Anyway, they have a nicer backdrop for their reunion coming up. Although I have to say, when is this reunion coming? It's like, they're not on a lot of episodes. I keep checking in with Down with Jason and Up and Adam and saying like, oh my gosh, when the hell is this thing going to air so we could do our live? All right. So Raquel wrote, and he agreed or whatever. James agreed that after these 5 wonderful years we had together, we decided we had 2 different goals and made the decision to call off engagement. We love each other very much, but we aren't in love anymore. We want nothing but the best for each other, so please keep any thoughts positive. Sending love. Oh, yeah, that's never happening in the Bravo community ever. And by the way, a few days later, the truth of what happens comes out, and it isn't that nice, honestly. It's not that positive. So, yeah, let's talk about that. By the way, I'm doing this video straight out of bed, so this is what I look like when I wake up. Now you know. I put on a filter, and then I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's let you guys see what I look like when I get up in the morning. Oh, I did shower, though. My hair doesn't normally look this good. I look more like this when I wake up. Okay. That's how my hair normally looks. Okay. So James and Raquel met on a New Year's Eve party in 2016. James was DJing the party, and the couple made their relationship official a month later on social media. So purportedly, she had no idea what the show was, Vanderpump Rules, and she made her debut on the show in season 5. We're, of course, at season 9 now. Her and James hooking up could have been her really interested in being on the show, and then she sort of convinced herself that she really liked him, but I don't know if she ever really did. You know what I mean? She was kind of at first she was like, well, this could be a good thing for me. And then she started dating him and she was like, okay, I could be with him. Anyway, after a few years, right, together, which is cool, 5 years, I guess, in May of 2021, James Kennedy asked her to marry him at this Coachella-themed party that they host at Empire Polo Fields. And she says yes. And they cover it on the show. And we're about to see that unfold shortly. So that's how that goes down. But there's warning signs we're seeing on the show. Her and him, he's calling her stupid and can't stand her drinking. He's trying to get more sober. She's sort of getting more drinky. So Shayna Shay offered Raquel to stay at her apartment in Hollywood because I guess James asked her to leave his. And so she moved in with Shayna Shay. And then Shayna Shay is now going to San Diego with the baby, the mom, and Brock. And letting her, I don't know, she's probably paying her some rent or something, whatever. And she's subleasing it. So, yeah, that's what's going on. Now, let me tell you what she said about the breakup, because it didn't totally matched what was in the media. So I thought, let's do this. She was nice enough to spill this tea with Shayna. Shayna was very grateful to have it for her podcast. Okay, so I want you to listen to this. This is Raquel and Shayna talking about the kiss and the nose bump incident. But look at how Raquel builds up to the answer that it was definitely, truly her nose got damaged from a kiss and a nose bump. The thing to notice isn't the answer. Like I knew he didn't punch her in the face, but look at how she gets to the answer, what she says ahead of time.
It was. And I understand the concern that you guys have because you've seen James be verbally abusive and he hasn't been there for me when I needed him to be there for me emotionally as well. So it wouldn't be that far-fetched to assume that James has been physically abusive to me, but I want to set the record straight that he has never laid a hand on me.
So it's a pretty big statement to say. It's not that much of a leap for the audience to believe that he was physically abusing her. I'm like, whoa, okay. That means the relationship, in my opinion, was a lot worse than we saw on camera.
It's unfair to him. So I know it's, when we're on reality TV, we're giving people permission to make assumptions and make their own conclusions about things.
Totally.
But I just want to throw it out there that that did not happen. It was purely an act of love. James came in for a kiss and he forgot that.
He finally got that cast off. Give me one.
Yeah. Like I finally had makeup on for the first time and he I don't know. He gets a little scatterbrained.
Yeah.
He forgot.
Totally.
I want to set that record straight because that's been something that's been bothering me. Okay. Next one.
Your shoes that you wore on New Year's Eve.
Also, she goes on to say that she was really wearing Louboutins and in her swipe picture, she had altered the coloring of the photo and that's why the bottom looked different in one of the swipes, but they were true Louboutins. Of course they were. Come on, you guys. This is LA after all. Okay, let's move on.
And lastly, was it really about the pasta? Because so many people think pasta was a code word for drugs.
Do you think
Pasta is not a code word for any drug.
I used to use code
words. It was really about the pasta. I really got drunk that night, I remember, because the next day I was mortified at everything that I was talking to Lala about.
Yeah.
And didn't really recall. But she did eat my pasta without my permission, and that was the whole premise because James was pissed that
So it turns out Brock is in San Diego training with a rugby team. Huh. I wonder if he's trying to get back on a rugby team in the U.S. Well, that would be good for him. I think a lot better than just his fitness app. So I'm, maybe he'll get a paycheck off that. That's the show, and his app could bring in some revenue for him. That would be good because I know he wants to pay bills right now. So that's good for him. Yay. I wonder what rugby team, do you guys know? So some other things come out of this, which is that she really wants someone who trusts her because it came out in a producer's interview with her and James that James did not trust Raquel. And it also came, he didn't like her family that much. So she was like, I really want someone who likes my family. And she's like, I want someone who's kind always, not just when someone is getting something. So this is all indicators to James's true personality, right? And I'm like, God, he sounds terrible. Doesn't he sound terrible? I mean, I thought he was kind of playing a character, but maybe he's just as bad as he should. She also wants someone who doesn't hate people and has given up on humanity, because I guess James did. And that as they go through a process of becoming better, they take action and they don't just talk about it, they do it. Wow, lots of insight in James in this. What else did she say? She said that she wants someone who can have a selfless kind of love and that she's never had that before. I think she's referring to unconditional love. Yeah, you'll find it, Raquel. You just aren't going to find it in LA, sweetheart. Not in LA. Okay, so she's decided that she'd like to do occupational therapy. She doesn't know pediatric or orthopedic. This is Raquel. And so she's starting a new chapter, and she said this about working at SUR, which is obviously an indicator about the show and casting and stuff like that, which is why I play it.
And speaking of working, Mimi_Lost Coast Lashes wants to know if you plan to stay working at SUR.
So I told Sir.
I mean, no one plans to stay working at SUR for like their whole life.
No,
you know,
absolutely
it's definitely a season.
Yeah.
There's a reason, a season, a lifetime. SUR's a season or many seasons.
Yeah, I was kind of overworking at SUR. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And when you're on heels the whole time, it's just draining. And the fact that they changed the entire menu.
The entire menu.
Guys, I don't want to relearn the whole menu. Like, I'm comfortable naming everything
recommending
on the menu.
stuff.
Yeah.
You can rattle off all the sides,
and
then it's like, oh.
Okay, ladies,
now I
like,
gotta
come on,
start.
it's
So I told
memorizing
them,
a menu.
"Don't
Let's
schedule
not go
me
nuts
until
here."
after the holidays.
Yeah.
So I have a break.
Okay, good.
But I guess I do want to like talk about the days leading up to the reunion, because I know all of you guys were shocked.
Literally. I mean, yeah, none of us saw it coming. I didn't see anything coming until that morning. Because James was super pissy. He was yelling at me and Sandoval, asking us for a charger for his weed pen. And then Sandoval's like, I think I have one of those chargers. I'm like, I haven't smoked a weed pen in 2 years. And then Sandoval's like, I think I have one. He's like, then fucking get it. And I was like, why are you yelling at Sandoval for like your weed pen? Like, it's your charger. Like, why don't you have a charger
I thought
for
he was
your
quitting
own weed
weed.
pen?
Yeah.
And
What the
I was like,
hell?
I don't know, something happened. And then
a
you looked
weed pen.
sad. I didn't even think it was something relationship.
What's
I was
a
like,
weed
shit,
pen?
is everything okay?
So it looks like James kept putting in a lot of effort, but he just has so much work to do on himself. And Raquel was really only in the relationship to fix him. And she was constantly making excuses for his behavior. And this is so typical of this type of kind of toxic relationship. And I give her kudos for actually removing herself from it, because it is not an easy thing to do. It's definitely easy when you're younger. It gets harder as you get older. But I really thought that was great. I'm so proud of her. And hopefully James will just slow it down, and he needs to be like constantly getting therapy. Okay, so the best part, all of you that stayed on the video this long, you get the best part. Yay! Okay, here we go. This is really telling. Okay.
My mom and I were both concerned that he wasn't going to have a good reaction when I told him.
That she was
So
breaking
I
up
wasn't
with him.
planning on saying anything until he went out of town.
Yeah.
He doesn't
That's-
even know this, so like...
That's
So
usually
my
when you're
mom
afraid
advised
of
me
your
to just pretend like
significant
everything
other.
is fine. Like, just go with it. I'm like, Mom, like, we have Disneyland planned on Tuesday. Like, how do you expect me to go to Disneyland and pretend everything's happy, dandy, and fine? And that's when Ariana was saying, like, yeah, we just went to Disneyland with them and everything was fine. But, like, I felt like I had to put on an act for that just to, like, make sure that I was safe. And, you know, Disneyland just isn't as fun when you're not, like, in love with the person that you're with anymore.
Totally.
But Ariana and Tom came.
Yeah. I know. I feel even more bad now that I, like, forgot to, like,
I
make
know.
the reservation, because it's the new
okay.
way of Disney where you can't
Yeah.
just go. And you're like, tickets are sold out, Sheena. I was like, shit, I'm sorry. I was like, it's a Tuesday. And in my head, I was like, what if I get asked to do Watch What Happens Live on this Tuesday, and then I spend $600 on Disneyland tickets that aren't refundable?
I know. Ariana
So-
was saying the same thing, and she was like, oh, like, Sandoval doesn't really want to go. And I'm like, you guys, you should come. Like, it's so much fun. They're doing
Yeah.
the Muppets.
Okay,
And
so I guess what happens is they're talking about storylines on the show, off the show, and James is like, why couldn't I have a funny storyline on the show? And Raquel's like, you could have had a funny storyline on the show. You control your storyline and your actions. And then she kind of come clean that she wants to break up. I'll let her tell the story now.
And I was like, seriously? You could have if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And he was like, what the hell does that mean? I was like, oh, just kidding. Like, I didn't mean anything by it. And he's like, no, tell me, like, what do you mean by that? And I was like, well, like, you have control over your actions, and you decided that you were going to make whatever storyline about, I don't know, not that it was about me, but it wasn't supporting me emotionally the way that I needed to be supported.
So if you were wondering who broke up with who, it was Raquel who broke up with James. And this is her talking about her saying to him that her heart is not in it anymore.
I don't appreciate the way that you treat other people. It's not how I treat other people. And a piece of me dies inside every time you mistreat somebody.
Yeah.
So he's like, what do I need to do? Like, what can I change your mind? Is there anything, like, please give me another chance? And I was like, I gave you another chance.
So many times.
I gave you another chance.
And another.
Yeah.
And then another.
And that led us here. And I can't, no. And he was like, okay, I see it in your eyes. It's over. I'm like,
damn.
And he was calm. He was listening to me. It was everything. Like, I was preparing for the worst. And
so she was expecting him to blow up, but he didn't. So I have a feeling James' theatrics is, a layer. And deep down, he's actually not as nuts as everybody thinks he is. He's just, he has like a defense mechanism he goes to. And that's that like crazy guy. But deep down inside, when it's meaningful, he's very quiet. And I think that's really interesting insight into James' psyche. Okay, I'm not a shrink, by the way. Just like, I'm a Pisces. Does that help you get why I'm so like connected? Yeah. All right.
Because he really did listen to me and was understanding of where I was coming from. And, he respected my decision.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, then if your heart isn't in it anymore, then I understand we need to go our separate ways. Like, what happens next?
Well, you'd be happy to know that Raquel's doing all right. She's with all of her friends. She's taking a time out from dating at the moment. I'm sure not too long because she's gorgeous. And James hopefully is just going to, work on himself and get super together. I wish he would find something else besides DJing that he liked to do, because I feel like for him that's such a not a great environment. Like if I was like his mom, I'd be like, why would you, it's like being starving and putting like a big steak in front of you, like maybe DJing isn't the best. I'd really rather see him do something like, I don't know what, a businessman or physical, like, own a gym. Like maybe him and Brock could trade places. Okay, you guys, if you like this, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.